Basically, we started off making energy tools. We started off in orgonite to begin with, which was something that Dr. Willem Reich invented, which basically creates orgone energy or life force energy. And we sort of souped them up a bit by adding a Tesla sucker punch coil, which powered them up with frequency and enhanced their output, tenfold. So, and then just one thing led to another, and I got shown how to make a simple finger ring by a fellow, and it went from there. Basically, there really wasn't much information out back in the early days, and it was really hard to find anything. So it was a lot of searching, talking to a couple of other tool makers that were willing to speak, and back engineering a lot of tools. And then that sort of went on to starting to invent our own tools. But I mean, I worked as a professional psychic for 25 years prior to that. So I'd pick up a lot of things intuitively. I'd get downloads, as I call them, of tools, and I'd start to draw pictures of them, and sometimes it'd be months, even years later, before I'd even build those tools. Didn't know what they were for until actually after I'd built them, and people who knew what they were, some of them, it was quite amazing. But yeah, look, it's just been a continual road of discovery, really. And the tools affect all forms of life, every living cell, basically, so in a positive way. So they enhance plant growth, reconstruct soil, the water, the air, eliminating air pollution. Basically, they create a state of ORME, which is orbitally rearranged monatomic elements. So basically transforming all the toxins and things in the atmosphere and creating fallout so that they fall out as a non-toxic substance. But so they've got many, many, many uses. The origins of this technology was, I should say, rediscovered by Slim Spurling and many of his offsiders that worked with him. But they all basically stemmed right back to the ancient cubit measurements that were taken from the Pyramid of Giza. That's where it pretty much started. The first one was the sacred or lost cubit. Sacred or Egyptian royal cubit. Later on came the lost cubit. So the Egyptian royal cubit actually is one fraction of the circumference of the Earth. Okay, so if you would take a measurement of the Earth's circumference, that's one fraction of that. If you look at the lost cubit, that's one fraction of the atmosphere surrounding the Earth. Okay, so they all related back to elements found in nature, in a sense. And if you look at a harmonizer, for instance, where you've got the coil in the middle, that's basically the planet, that's the North Pole and the South Pole. So, and they create a vortex, much the same as the Earth does with the two poles. It's all based right back to the Egyptians, and then we sort of took it further and then discovered some old Sumerian cubits, which the Egyptians got their technology from the Sumerians. So, we were the first ones to sort of not discover the cubit been around since time exists, but we were the first one to actually put it into a tensor and find out that it was activated. And so not all cubit measures are active. Some are non-beneficial, some are beneficial. It's you've got to be very careful with this technology, because if it's not done right, it can make people sick, especially if it's twisted back to front. You're going to have a double negative field. If it's two single wires, you're going to have a positive and a negative and all this sort of stuff. So, and look, within a couple of days, you'll know about it because you'll start feeling pretty crook. The tools are for everyone. The tools are from, we have a wide range of personal uses, from specific healing tools that we make, practitioners' tools like AccuVac coils, feedback loops, which are basically simply vacuum cleaners for pain, right through to all the different ring sets, which work on a physical, emotional, etheric levels, through to, we have a lot of people who work with wildlife, injured wildlife, that use our tools as well and have amazing results. And then you get right through to the people who work on environmental and even a lot of farmers, use our tools, because some of the harmonisers tend to repel non-beneficial insects and invite beneficial insects. I mean, you start running a harmoniser, you're going to have wildlife everywhere in your yard, everything starts growing like it's on steroids, it's like, it's amazing, quite amazing to witness. I could tell you many, many stories, of miraculous things that have happened, and they were never things that we expected, to be totally honest with you. One fellow, his fiancée was a client of ours, or a customer of ours, and he had a motorcycle accident. Car ran a red light and cleaned him up. He had, I think, 3 broken vertebrae in his neck, and he had damage to the brain. He had 3 bleeds to the brain, one very deep that they basically said 3% of people survive those. He's just had broken bones everywhere. He was unconscious. And I said to my partner at the time, I think we should take some tools down there. So we did, and showed her how to use them, hook up an AccuVac coil to a major big ring to put under the bed, raw cubit to put under his head. And they basically told her that, look, he's not going to walk again, if he does come out of the coma, he probably won't know who you are and won't have any control over any bodily functions or anything. The next day, she went back down to the hospital. They were taking the neck brace off, and she was like, what's going on? And they said, look, we don't know what's going on. We've scanned him again. There's no breaks. We don't know what the hell's going on. And the next day she went down, and he was starting to come out of his coma, and toes are moving. He's trying to stand up, and they're all trying to push him back down on the bed. And I think on the 5th day he escaped from hospital on foot. They had to chase him. He had some choice words to say to him, but anyway, I won't go into that. But then they said, look, it'll be 9 months of rehab. He was home in 9 weeks. How does it happen? I guess it's just one of the miracles of this quantum physics, there is no logical explanation. We're dealing with energy. You can't say it's going to do that or it's going to fix that. Just things happen. There's another young girl who, I think she had spina bifida or something. But anyway, she couldn't walk very well. She was very clumsy, and we said to her dad, we were camping at the time, and we spotted her and said to her dad, look, do you mind if we try some bracelets on her, and which will help with her balance and everything? And we put those on her, and she could run on the sand and keep up with the other kids, and they were just blown away. He had an injury because he was he used to jump out of airplanes, parachute and stuff in the army or whatever he was in, and had damage to his back, and he couldn't believe the relief. Look, people have been wearing copper bracelets for years, particularly for their arthritis and pain stuff. And look, it has got an anti-inflammatory agent within the copper, which we know about. But when you start to put it into a tensor, which basically realigns the crystalline structure and sets up the energy flow, then you cut it at the right cubit measurement or fraction of, that sets up the frequency. Once it's welded, if it's not welded, it doesn't do anything. So once it's welded, it creates a closed circuit, and that's where the magic happens. currently, I think there's probably about 140 products. I mean, you might be able to correct me on that, but you know, there's a huge range of tools from, like I say, practitioners' tools to personal development tools to ones that work on resetting DNA to environmental tools. It's a huge range, and every single one of them is made by me at this point of time, which means it takes time. They're all handmade. Every piece is handmade. Every piece that's hammered out and welded, and you know, it's all done by me. So, you know, I mean, there's days where I can be here till midnight working on stuff because I've got so many orders to fill, and you know, it's a fairly big task, but we go as much, try and keep up with as much as we can, and you know, we get it out, there, but I don't. A lot of people think that it's all just we buy it in or whatever. It's not. Doesn't work that way. Every piece has to be handmade, and we've gone through many attunements as well, so that we're, you know, imparting the correct energies into the tools as we make them as well, which is another important aspect.
Perfect. Nice. Good. It's good. I'm happy. I pretty much got everything I need, but unless you guys think of something else right now, then we can chat about it.
Off the top of my head, nothing's jumping out. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Lunch.
Yeah, we haven't covered lunch yet.